Paintball nerd. Today's guest on Paintball Nerd started playing paintball in 1998. He started competing in 2004, which is also when he began his photography career. He began shooting full-time photography in 2012, and in 2023, he joined the Hormesis team as their videographer and photographer. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show, Philip Swindall. Yo.
Hey, Zyzek. Thanks for having me.
Anchors away.
That's it. Yeah. Try to lay low and use that to hide behind, but here we are. Whatever.
Where does Anchors Away come from?
Yeah. So when I was beginning, stepping out into photography and doing that full time, I didn't want to use my name. I wanted to use something else, and I like nautical things. I have nautical tattoos. That whole thing. And Anchors Away is like an old Navy song. I did have grandparents in the Navy, but I'm not military or anything. I just kind of latched onto that, and it kind of meant like set sail, go on your journey, and I aligned with that at the time. This was probably in 2010. I came up with that, and just kept it. So yeah.
How did you get into paintball?
Well, kind of boring. It was birthday, classic situation. It was actually my birthday. Yeah, I know. My best friend at the time was like, dude, you got to do this thing for a birthday party. I love it. It's so much fun. We'll go have a great time. It's indoor. We shoot each other. And I had like no idea what it was. And yeah, it was cool. That was my first time. I was at Paintball Atlanta back in, maybe 98 or 99 probably. It was like my 12th birthday. And yeah, it was fun. I wasn't hooked quite yet, but that was definitely like the first time playing. Remember like the first time I got shot on the head, and like I was like, oh, that was actually not that bad. That was pretty fun. I had no idea how I got shot. I just remember like looking down the tape and get blasted, and I was like, okay.
Is that Lane Wright's field?
Yeah, it was. Well, I don't know if it was at the time, but yeah, currently it's Lane Wright's field. This current location, I think, is not too far from where the one I was at. It was an indoor field in Roswell, and there was like two fields, indoor and one outdoor, and we played both in December. It was quite cold, but it was a good time. Really slippery indoor with wooden structures, and yeah, it was good.
So in 98, that's when you started. You started competing in 04, and then that's when your photography career began. So how'd you get started in photography?
Yeah, I guess you could say I started then. So that's when I finished high school. I'd always been into photography. Like when I was little, my parents would buy me a disposable camera because I'd always ask, like, hey, can I use the camera, use your camera, use your camera? And they finally were just like, look, here's a disposable, go do whatever. And they just kept doing that. And finally, for Christmas one year, they got me a film camera, a real camera. And I was like, oh, this is great. And I just loved it. It didn't really like latch on that I could like really make a career out of it or something until later. But what did inspire me is I had a cousin that was in the film business, or currently is still in the film business, and I saw a path with that, working in film, and so I kind of focused more on that later on down the road.
So when you started your photography career like full time, what industry was that in?
Yeah, so when I started doing that, I was doing kind of more like social media photography. So I was doing like some lifestyle advertising shoots on a smaller scale. And a lot of people, they only see like Instagram. They think like that's the only type of photography, or like, best way to describe it is like people having fun, being natural in an environment. So maybe they're like enjoying drinks at a place and it's like set up and fake looking, but it's like kind of a lifestyle shot. So I kind of did that thing is what I focused on. I had a client at the time that allowed me to leave my job at Apple. So I kind of like focused all in there, and then I just kind of just kept finding other clients and kept building from there. Yeah.
What'd you do with Apple?
So I was a creative, and that was like the technical title. And what a creative was is an instructor that had like 1 hour sessions with you that can show you how to do anything on a Mac. So whether that's Final Cut, whether it's Aperture, which is their photo editing platform at the time, basically just spend an hour with you and show you how to do anything you want. So I'd teach like a little old lady how to type up a document in Pages, or I would teach a guy how to edit something in Final Cut. in the same day. So it was quite interesting. I did that when I finished college. Basically, that was when the economy hit like in '08, and couldn't really work freelance. It was kind of rough at the time. So I was like, well, this
Mm.
seems like a cool gig and can learn a lot. And I did. So did that for a couple of years. Yeah.
So how the heck did that lead to working for Hormesis?
Yeah. So, so I was basically living in Europe. So I actually only recently moved back to US. I was living in Prague, Czech Republic for 7 years and just doing my thing, playing paintball over there too, and keeping track of paintball, of course. And one day Oliver hit me up. It was October of 2022, something like that. He's like, "Hey, would you like to shoot some stuff for Hormesis?" And I was like, "Yeah, that'd be awesome." He's like, "Okay, I'll send you some merch, and if you can get some models or just some friends and go take some photos, we need some content." I was like, "All right." So, yeah, he got busy. He was, too busy winning World Cup, coming back, and all that stuff. And eventually, he sent me a bunch of merch and like a rice plastic packaging that looked super sketchy if like you're a customs agent, I'm sure. But yeah, sent me some stuff and did a shoot, and he was like, "Cool, love it, awesome, let's do some more stuff." And then I was like, "Hey, I got some ideas." So I shot him some ideas, and he's like, "Love it, let's do it." So those are some ideas to do at Sunshine State last year, 2023, in XL, and just kind of kept rolling from there. So if you want the long version, so basically what happened is I get the NXL Sunshine State. Alex Brady was like, "Oh, hey, kind of heard about you, but didn't know you were going to be here," kind of thing. And Miko was like, "What are you doing?" And Miko takes a bit to warm up to you, so he was still kind of like skeptical, looking at me like, "I don't know why Oliver has you here or whatever." So, but it was cool. We kind of connected later, but yeah, so I did some projects there, and thought that was it. And then the next thing I know, I was like, "Oh, go to Dallas." And then Dallas, Miko connected. And he's like, "Hey, I'm working on this film project with Pat Spoor. I'd like for you to get involved, and I'd like to bring you on to shoot for it." So I was like, "Sweet." So yeah, from there I started working with the film as well, and yeah, it's been fun. It's been a journey.
I wonder how Oliver found you. Like, obviously you played paintball, but like there's
Mhm.
millions of photographers. I wonder how he ended up
Totally.
reaching out to you.
And I meant to ask him that, but yeah, we connected on Instagram. And I think what set everything in motion was I posted a photo when I was in Paris. I was there for a job, and I was just happened to be taking some street photos. I'm always taking photos, and there was this old guy, just like decked out, with a hat like this, nice long coat. It was a beautiful day, and he just had so much swag. He's probably like 75 years old. Walking down the street, and I took a photo of him and I posted it. I'm really bad about posting, but I posted that, and that's what kind of got him excited about something, because he was going to be doing a shoot with some guys in Paris that he planned out with Ryan. So I think he was like,
Mm.
"Oh, Paris photography, fashion," and it kind of like cued him in. And I guess that's kind of what pulled him in. And yeah, I don't know. It's kind of funny how that weird things like that happen for reasons. And yeah, full circle moments for sure. So
It's funny because you mentioned Miko, how he takes a little bit to warm up to, which is true, absolutely.
yeah,
But if you ask Miko about Philip Swindall now, he's very
that's cool.
impressed with you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Miko's a
He
great
speaks
guy.
very highly of you.
Yeah, well, Miko's got a great vision. He's very creative, and what's fun about him is a lot of people don't see, especially with the whole Hormesis crew, is behind the scenes with those guys, like what they do. Like people don't know that Alex Frazier is like a really talented illustrator, and he's a great artist as well. And Miko is as well. Miko has a vision. He's like, "Oh, I'm gonna do the shirt. I'm gonna do it with this pattern. I'm gonna do it with this fabric." Da da da, and he gets it made. It's like
Yep.
it's so easy for him. Whereas like me, if I had to think about something like that, I'd overthink the heck out of it and be like, "I don't know, man, I can't." But he just gets it done, and he'll have it at the event, and you're like, okay. And he's managing all these other things at one time, and then on top of that, he's working on this film all last year. So, yeah. So shout out to those guys. Like, it's really been cool to connect with them and be inspired by other people that want to make things that make them happy, make other people happy, and do a lot of things for the community that people don't see. Like, Hormesis does a lot of stuff, not to make money. They just do it because is
Exactly.
cool, like this film, So, yeah.
So you doing the paintball movie? You're doing the Iron Kids documentary as well?
So not the Iron Kids one, the other one that we shot last year, which is All That Matters. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So that's where we follow some top pros. Miko just released the trailer, I think, in Vegas.
It was awesome.
So yeah, I was working on that with him and Pat Sporer, which was another cool full circle moment because I remember talking to Pat Sporer back when I was in film school. I'd gone up to Mid Atlantic Open to Paintball Central Charlotte, and saw him out there shooting film on high speed camera, and I knew what it was, and I was like, oh, sick! I got to talk to this guy, and I found out it was Pat Sporer. Of course, I knew who he was because I'd watched all those documentaries growing up, and yeah, I just chatted with him. He was a super nice guy. Got to nerd out a bit, talk tech with him, and then to get to work with him this last year on this film was just such like a weird, kind of full circle moment, and also kind of like a bucket list thing I didn't have on a bucket list because I was like, it's not something I was going for. It just kind of naturally happened, and that was super, super cool. Really amazing situation. So
When does All That
yeah.
Matters come? When does that come out?
Oh, yeah, that's a Miko question. I think he's aiming for this year, but I think yeah, he's going to take his time with it and do it right, and it's looking pretty cool. So I was happy to be a part of that. And then another project that we are working on besides all that. So we got the film, doing social media for them, doing some lifestyle shoots with Oliver. We also have a magazine with that's been a project with me, Alex Frazier, and Mike Jeffrey. He's a coach of Revo. He's the editor. So yeah, super excited about that.
When does the magazine come out?
So magazine should be shipping out in the next 2 weeks. It's arriving on pallets this week, I think. But I got it right here. Might as well show you.
Oh, I can't wait to get it, dude.
Yeah.
Put
Super
that bad boy
stoked
on
on
my
this.
coffee table.
Yeah. I mean, we call it a magazine because there's ads in it, but really it's more of a book.
For sure.
And what I appreciate about this is we had like a bunch of people contribute to this, whether through words. We had a lot of photographers. I mean, look at how sick this looks big this way. Like you can see
That's a badass picture of Keith.
You can see every droplet on here, and it's way cooler to like take this and show somebody like, hey, this is paintball. Then going on your phone, going on Instagram. Oh, I got to find that one thing. Hold on a second. And you're still scrolling, and it's awkward. And you finally find it, and they've lost interest. Where instead, it's like, hey, take this. Just do whatever you want. Look at it, and they can really appreciate it in the variety of stuff. So we've got like an eras section, which is all like throwback photos. And then we've got newer stuff from last year. We've got Woods Ball / classic paintball here, which is super cool. So again, this was another project that was like, a big full circle moment for me because I definitely grew up with like Faceful magazine, PGI, and I still have all those in boxes. Like I love magazines, so especially photography. Like I was totally into those. So
dude, I remember getting paintball magazines or going to the grocery store, and like when new issues would come out, if there was a new issue, I bought it immediately. Like I'm flipping through it in the line at the grocery store. It's like I can't wait to go home and poop so I can sit there and read it and let my feet fall asleep. Like,
and weren't the Faceful ones, weren't those in plastic wrap? I'm pretty sure they were in plastic because I remember like having to wait till after I checked out to look through them. Whereas all the other ones you can like, peel them open, or they're already peeled open or whatever. Yeah, dude. It was so
Faceful was like next level. When Faceful came out, it was bigger than the rest of the magazines.
Yeah.
The photos were just better. I mean, Faceful was an amazing magazine.
Speaking of Faceful, we actually have a Faceful section in the back of the magazine. We're basically to give them the last like section of pages so they could do like mini Faceful. So they got their own Euro style in here, and yeah, they ran with that, which was super fun. So plug there for Great American Paintball.
Great American Paintball book. Subscribe.
Great. Yes. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Philip, what do you love most about paintball?
Whew, man, that's so many elements there. For one, like paintball was there during so many different segments and periods of my life, and it was there like when I needed it, when I needed something to like look forward to. If I was having like a rough time with something, like I had the Friday night $5 Fridays where I can go play at the indoor field. And I had that for sure. That's what I had to look for, too, no matter how my week looked or what was going on. So I got super stoked for that. Yeah, friendships, of course. Like I've now made friends, from all over the world from paintball. And that's such an incredible feeling to know that, like, if I go fly back over to Europe right now, I've got some connections in a lot of places just from paintball. Um, Kind of travel a lot of cool places, still traveling a lot to cool places. And yeah, it's really amazing. And paintball people are super, they're special. I'm sure everyone's talked about that, but it's true. There's something unique about them. And I think it's because we've all been through certain things that are very similar, and we've had shared experiences. And so you're naturally like, can gauge like how tough a person is, or like they've kind of probably already had the same life lessons as you in a lot of ways because they've played paintball and
Yeah.
traveled for it. So you can kind of already like connect and align with people like that. Whereas, some people that I meet now, they don't really have other activities they do, which is fine. And it's hard to align with them. They don't see like why putting so much effort into something, or you know, time away or anything. They don't understand it, and so it's hard to like align with those people. Or talk about travel. You forget because we all travel so much for paintball. Like other people kind of just don't, which again is fine, but it's hard to connect with those people. So yeah,
Dude,
um, yeah, it's been good.
it's like paintball. I think that's one of the reasons people call paintball the fountain of youth, is because, it's like the rest of the professional world gets stuck in adulting. Got to do this, got to do that, can't leave,
100%.
adulting. But when you're in paintball and you have the absolute, it's a luxury. You have the luxury to be able to
Yes.
play paintball several times a year and go hang out with all your friends that you've had for years. It an element of that does keep you young, you know?
Yeah, I completely agree. Um, yeah, it definitely keeps you young. You see the people that kind of stop doing what they're interested in; they just kind of exist, and
Yeah.
yeah, they go downhill fast. They're not, this is motivating us. As the older we get, we're like, oh, I want to stay in shape so I can still play with my buddies. I
Yeah.
still want to go get on that classic field and do my thing, and that's motivating to hit the gym. Whereas you could just not do it and not care anymore, and then just do whatever. So yeah, it's motivating in a lot of ways. Yeah, for
Would you
sure.
say that the most memorable moments for you in paintball happened on the field or off the field?
I definitely have memorable moments on the field for sure. But I mean, if you add up all those moments on the field, it's still not much time. It's really not.
Yeah.
It's such a fraction. It's such a process. No, yeah, it'd be off the field for sure. I have moments where I won stuff. I won some NXLs. That was really cool. But like, you remember the car rides, the shenanigans that went down at the hotel. You remember the pranks you played. All that stuff. That's what you 100% remember. And the grind going there. You remember like driving home from a practice in another couple states away, pinching your leg, trying to stay awake because you're just dead tired, and then you got to get up and go work and pay for that tournament that you just spent $2,000 on to lose in the finals. So it's like, yeah, it's really fun. And now with like photo and video and doing that whole realm, it's definitely added like a whole other appreciation to the game, and the people that make everything great that work behind the scenes. So yeah.
Mm. Do you have any particular moments or memories that, or stories that you'd like to share?
Oh, jeez, there's a lot. Um, I think just the biggest thing is just all these like full circle moments I've been talking about, just kind of coming back into the game from a different way and being brought into paintball from this side and photo and video. And that's just been kind of like, uh, can't find a better word, but like serendipitous. And yeah,
Mm.
it's been quite interesting how it just kind of naturally happened. And it was not a forced thing and just naturally pulled in. And, and it felt right. It was like I was supposed to do this. And yeah, it was just kind of magical in that sense. And I would say last year, I think it kind of hit me when I was doing some work with like Pat and Miko, and it was just felt good. Yeah, It felt right, and I was really enjoying what I was doing. And definitely, like when I was with Oliver recently in Bali, shooting some stuff and riding around on the scooter and just kind of thinking about 1 year before and like not being so happy with some clients that I had and not having as much fun because it was just more of a work job. And this felt like this is really fun. You know, it's the ikigai, if you will, when you can combine everything into that center there. Um, and it felt kind of like that. And I was like, oh yeah. And it kind of hit me. I was like, okay, this is really cool. Like I feel good about what I'm doing. I'm enjoying it. Uh, yeah.
You used the term serendipitous, and
Yeah.
I talked to a mutual friend of ours, Trucker Billy, recently,
Oh yeah.
and
Trucker
that
Billy's
is the
great.
exact term that he used. Like a lot of what happened to me in paintball is serendipitous.
I
Like,
couldn't think of a better word. Maybe if I pulled out a thesaurus and I dug a little deeper, but
dude, I'm pretty sure that's as good
coming
as
to
a word
mind.
you can use for that.
Yeah, yeah, and Trucker Billy's great. I got to spend a lot of time with him on the tour last year, and yeah, that was a good journey we had across the U.S. So yeah, he's a great dude. So
Yeah.
it's
Is there
cool.
anything top secret that you're working on that you can share?
Top secret that I can share.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, nothing really top secret. I mean, the biggest thing was the magazine, and that's coming out now. We'll have some cool stuff rolling out here from Hormesis. They're making some stuff. I can't say anything. It's gonna be cool. It's gonna be cool. They're always making good stuff. But I think I wouldn't be surprised if we did some more film projects in the future after this one drops this year. Whenever Miko does it, um, yeah, we'll probably do some more short form stuff in the meantime until that comes out. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. Some things are happening. Hormesis is
All
always
right.
going. So yeah.
How do you think the Great American Paintball magazine will impact the industry? Do you feel like people are stuck on their phones, or do you think this is something that they're going to want to have, with them?
That's a great question. I will say to have it on you will be a little different because it is large. So you do have to
Yeah.
be prepared for that, for carrying it around. I hope it catches. I mean, I think when Alex and I were talking about it and doing the project, like we kind of did it from a point of view of like, okay, well, what would we want to look at and what would we enjoy? And it's hard to tell if like only like the super paintball nerds are gonna be into it, or if all paintball people are gonna be into it. I don't know. I hope it catches and not for the sake of like the project making money or anything because it wasn't set up that way. It's more for paintball to give that missing piece back, to get that missing piece back, and that's print media. Um,
Hmm.
and in this capacity. I mean, some people have printed out some stuff here and there, but like not in this way, not as this developed. Um, yeah, and I think it's cool because there's a lot of great stories in here that won't get shown outside, won't get the right attention, and really also for photos. Like it's sad to see photos just on Instagram and knowing these photographers are spending time editing and like they look great big and you just see them on this tiny screen to just be like tapped and scrolled past. Maybe saved, sure, but like you don't appreciate it. Printed is just so different. And here you have pages that you can literally like rip out and have as a poster on your wall. I mean, growing up, I know I used to do that with Facebook where it was like,
Me too.
yeah, it was like Ryan Greenspan playing in PPL Huntington Beach in the sand. And that was like on my wall growing up in high school. But I mean, like, for example, here's, Billy Saransky, it's
Mm.
like, and it's a giant picture. Maybe someone aligns with that or this dude, like, actually, who was that? I can't remember. Sorry. Guy from Image, though. Whoop, there you go. So, yeah, it's stuff like that. I mean, I want also like it gives recognition to a lot of photographers out there who are making cool stuff
Yeah.
that don't get noticed and yeah, and they're important too because that's the things you're going to look back on. Videos are cool and I definitely do video as well, but like there's something about a photograph that I feel like you kind of, at least for me, I hang on to longer and I can remember longer. And even now, when I go back and look at old Paintball magazine, I kind of can still flip to the same pages where my favorite photos were. Because I remember it was like, oh, right here. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that was this photo. This is sick. I wanted to look like Lasoya back in the day, like this. This is so cool.
Well, like with social media, it's like you are so blasted with images. And it's not just paintball, it's anything that the algorithm happens to recognize that you're interested in. So there's so many things pulling at your attention, right? Vying
Yeah.
for your attention. And it's so easy to even miss a really good photo. You're just like, oh, I'm scrolling. I'm in
Yeah.
scroll mode and I'm just in hyper consumption mode. At least with me, that's what, like, I hyper consume and
100%.
I look at stuff real fast and it's got to
Yeah.
really catch me to stop. But when you're looking at a magazine, especially one that is, it's got some presence to it, right? It's a
Yeah.
big magazine, it's a big book. You are present in looking through that thing. It's hard to think of anything else. It's like you're thinking about that magazine. So when you come across a picture, you can appreciate it more. You can look at, oh, look at the detail here. Look at the, look at this. Look at his expression.
Yeah.
Uh, it has a bigger feel to it.
Yeah.
And
You're forced to slow down. Like
you're
by
forced to
looking
slow
at the
down.
magazine, you're forced to slow down. Whereas the phone, you're all right. Like you have a notification show up from your girlfriend or something on there. You're like, oh, hold on, let me deal with that. You
Yeah.
take away the phone, give it back to the Instagram post, and the moment's gone. Whereas this is like, oh, I have to take my time with this. And what was really special is handing this to some people recently, and they just all had their own moments with it. And moments, I mean, it was it was varied. Like one guy kind of got emotional. So I showed it to a guy that has an article in here, and he just kind of got choked up for a minute. Josh Taylor. He was kind of like, because for him, it was like validating, like my
Yeah.
struggle in this pro game and all the effort was worth it because like this makes it feel legit. It is legit, but this makes it feel legit. And that was such a cool moment to see. And I was like, oh wow, that felt really special. Like I felt like, the time put into this was worth it to see like him happy and him, he could take that to his family, be like, you know what, I miss a lot of weekends, I'm gone a lot, but like here's an article I did about my struggle back home after losing. And it's more respectful than like showing just a post. It's like, wow, this is
Totally.
cool. My photo's in a magazine. Like, if someone told you that my photo's in a magazine, check me out, versus like, hey, I'm on this Instagram page from this other random account, whatever. Like, and I'm not disrespecting social media at all, but it's just different. There's different
Totally.
platforms.
Well,
So
it's like physical pictures also kind of went away. Like people sometimes print out pictures,
yeah,
but you don't take your film to Rite Aid anymore, the drugstore, and get it developed, and you have these physical pictures that you put in a book. That kind of went away. People even have digital picture frames these days. You know,
yeah,
so there's something special about this tangible little item that captures a moment in time. And when you have a whole
totally.
book of them, it's special. So I can't wait for it to come out.
And stories. So not only the photos, there's a lot of great articles. You also wrote a great article in there too, which was really cool to go back and watch the video that you referenced. That was really interesting. What'd you call it? You called it "Did X Ball kill the run through?" Is
Yeah.
that what it was?
And
Yeah,
dude, it's so funny because that moment I didn't like know a video existed of it. Like
yeah,
I didn't know where to find it. I searched online everywhere. I couldn't find it. I assumed it would be online, but it wasn't. So I wrote the article and I forgot who, like I sent it to Alex, and then someone replied saying, an editor saying, "Oh, was it this or this? How many people did he actually get?" And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't remember. I know it was a few people that he got, but like, I don't know. And then Alex had a TV with the built-in VCR.
yep.
He had the tape, and he filmed it on his phone and sent it to me, and it blasted me back to that moment when Oliver went around the pyramid and he fell, and everyone just went nuts when he fell. And then he got up and bunkered three people, and it was like that was that moment, That's the moment
Yeah,
that Oliver Lang was a hero for me.
yeah, yeah. I got to watch it as well. He pulled it out. He was like, "Oh, I know right where it is." Pulled it out of a bucket, put it in the VCR, and I was like, "Oh, cool." Watched it a couple times. Yeah, it was a really interesting moment, and it's a good article. I think it's a good talking point too, because
Yeah.
I don't know, It's interesting to think
Well,
about.
we were talking about it in Nashville, and it's like if he fell, like if he didn't fall, would someone would have picked up on him early? Who knows?
I mean, it's all about seconds, and that was really like a moment where you're right. He fell and he lost like a second or two, got back up and went. So who's to say like that would have happened the same way? I don't know. That's what's kind of magical about it. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's cool.
Well, Philip, you got anything cool to show us?
I do. Unfortunately, some of my stuff is still in storage from moving back, but I did find something kind of cool. Yeah.
Okay. Well, you wanna thank anyone before you show it?
Yeah, 100%. Definitely thank Oliver for pulling me into this Hormesis gang, and then kind of getting connected with Miko and Alex. Being a part of that's been really fun, and getting to just make cool things together and work together has been really really a blast. Getting to connect with a lot of people that I grew up, they were my heroes. Michael Jordan wasn't my hero. I didn't care about him. It was, you know, Dynasty guys. It was Aftershock guys. It was all the legends of the game. So now, being friends with these people, working with like Lasoya over the weekend, it was like, man, this is rad. So definitely thanks to all the Hormesis guys for having me along. It's been fun so far. So yeah.
Awesome. Perfect. Well, I'd like to thank some people, some companies that make this show possible. First of all is Lumi Gummies. Click the link in the description below for Lumi Gummies and use Paintball Nerd at checkout, and you'll get 20% off your first order and 10% off future orders. Got to be 21 or older. This is a cannabis product. But if you're taking harmful, addictive prescription medication, try it out. It could be a lifesaver for you. LumiGummies.com, Paintball Nerd at checkout. Also, Paintball Retro. If you like JT stuff and you like retro JT stuff, check out Paintball Retro. Click on the link in the description below. That way they know that I sent you, and that helps support the show. So I very much appreciate it. And then finally, Gap Magazine, Great American Paintball Mag.com. Go there, sign up, get the magazine. You get 2 issues a year. Get them. A lot of effort goes into it. A big community of paintball players and professionals have helped bring this thing to fruition. So support it and go to greatamericanpaintballmag.com and check it out. So what do you got, Philip? Show us the cool thing.
So let's see. This was when I first went to World Cup, I guess in I think it was 03. I was taking some photos through the net. And since I just worked with him last week, here's a photo of Lasoya I took through the net on a little 35 millimeter camera. So had
That's
some
Miami
Oliver
effect, baby.
too. I know, right? Isn't that dope? Yeah.
Dude.
So that was cool. Funny moment to have that connection this last week. And yeah, like I said, it's been a cool journey so far, and being pulled into this when it wasn't something I was seeking. It kind of just sought me. So it's been kind of cool to be aware.
Did you get an opportunity to speak with my mom at all this weekend?
No.
Okay.
No. I didn't
So
actually
she
see
has-
you too much either. I only saw
Yeah,
you
that's true.
playing for a bit and then leaving.
So my mom has a story from that era, 2003, when Chris was on Miami Effect. So it was like right in the era that you took that photo. But she came to a tournament. This is when I was on the Ironman. She came to a tournament in Las Vegas. So it was like 03, maybe 04. I think it was 03. So she was watching in a tournament, and we were playing against Miami Effect. And I was the last guy left. And of course, everyone's coming to run me down, right?
Mm.
And then in that situation, the first thing, as soon as they see something, they're going to shoot at it. Especially back then, it was full auto. You just let your guns go. So all she sees is that I'm dead. I'm no longer playing. I'm going to get up, and I stand up, and Chris puts a few in my neck, right? And then like
Classic.
the mama bear claws come out. She tries to like climb the chain link fence to get Chris, and it's like, in her mind, the way that she tells the story, like in her mind, like I'm gasping for air and I'm like on the ground like a fish, like gasping for air. I'm like, no, mom, like you get shot all the time in the neck. It's like, it's not that big of a deal. But she was ready to kill Chris, and then she got to meet Chris this weekend and tell him about it.
Oh
If
man,
he, yeah, so.
that's funny. Yeah, I'm sure she was trying to be very protective, and he was just like, "I'm just doing my thing." And I'm sure he was super great and nice off the field. That's just Chris inside the net. So
Yeah, Chris
respectfully.
doing Chris things respectfully. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Philip,
awesome.
what would you like to see in paintball media that we don't see currently?
Ooh, so I do appreciate a lot more like day in the life kind of stuff with players, because I think that's what's fascinating is like how are you juggling real life with playing pro? You know, um,
Mhm.
I like more of the short films. I like that kind of thing. I think that would be nice to have some more of those. Playing footage is cool. I love that, of course. I love watching Go Sports, all that stuff, but more story driven, um, and more like short form, maybe documentary about like, hey, how does this guy, live in New York and play for New York Extreme? Like, what's that like? Where does he
Yeah.
live? Like, where does he go train? How far does it take him to go train? Because a lot of people have very interesting stories where they make these crazy journeys to go play somewhere. I mean, I know for me, I was living in Europe and I was going by bus like 8 hours to go play a tournament in Poland, by myself. So it's like other people are doing interesting stuff like that. I think it'd be cool. Maybe follow Harrison Fry around a little bit. He's kind of a wild character and traveling all the time. So it's interesting to see. Yeah, I think more of that, more stories, more short film kind of things would be something I'd like to see more of in paintball. But honestly, I have to say, like, I feel like in the past 2 years, I would say maybe since COVID, actually, like everything keeps getting elevated each year. Um, and I feel like everyone's just keep leveling up, which is really cool to see. And I think it'll pay off at some point, you know.
Who do you think does a really good job of that, if anyone, yet?
Yeah, so I George Fava does a great job with his like short form videos he makes, like the more um, stories. Like he did a great one actually on Crystal Soya. That was awesome. He did for Playing the Eclipse. That was great. He did a great one. All this stuff's great, but the ones I remember most recently are the Crystal Soy one, and he did one for Nick from Hurricanes, and I really thought those were well done. Cool short story, gives you an idea of the person, a little bit of their character, shows them playing, but also talks a little bit about their journey as well. So I appreciate that for sure. And again,
Mhm.
I'm really excited for this film with Miko because I think you'll get some of that as well in there and little glimpses into these players' lives, but also more of like a film aspect in the way that it's shot and everything. So it's not just it's action, but it's shot in a different way. So
Yeah.
yeah, shout out to George Favre. He does great work.
Dude, he's amazing.
Yeah.
You know, I was thinking because you have a different perspective as a videographer, right? Like when you're watching from the stands as a fan, it's a different feeling than when you're trying to capture a moment in paintball history. Through your lens, Philip, like who do you feel like is the greatest paintball player right now?
Whew, man, that's a that's a on the spot.
Okay, let's
Great.
start with this.
Yeah, no,
Who's your
it's
favorite?
fine. It's
Who's your
fine.
favorite?
Well, I would say okay. So I'll answer the first one. I think. I mean, I think
Okay.
it's hard to it's cliche, but like Ryan Greenspan currently, like just it's hard to compete with that level of knowledge and that many years of acquired knowledge of the game, the in and outs, all of the weird little details that have to go right to win a tournament. And he's got that on lock and he's got in how to win and what it takes. Like, you can have all these skills, you can be faster. Like I'm sure Ryan's not as fast as these other guys, but like at that level, it's all about the mind and you're competing with how many years of pro experience in that mind.
Yeah.
So I would say it's hard not to say he's not currently like the best player on the field. People like Marcelo. Marcelo is absolutely clutch. And I'm not trying to suck up the dynasty guys. That's just
No,
what it
it's a
is right
reality.
now. I
Yeah.
mean, that's just what it is. It's hard to argue. Like Marcelo is extremely clutch in game situations and can pull off crazy stuff. And there's obviously that dynasty magic that happens too. But yeah, there's a lot of amazing players, and it's really cool to see like teams like the Hurricanes right now, um, with no, you could say superstars on the team, just really they play like such a team. A lot of these other teams are just a bunch of individuals put together out on the field, but these guys play like a unit. And,
Yeah.
shout out to Mike Bianca. I used to play with him on Prime in Alabama, and great dude. So I'm happy to see those guys doing well. But yeah, those guys are definitely getting that knowledge that they need now, and they've got that drive. So um, yeah, so I would say Ryan. Short answer is probably Ryan
Dude.
is still the top. Yeah, my favorite player growing up, of course, is going to be Oliver, just because of how freely he played.
Mm-hmm.
It's what everyone says, but I think it was what really hit and resonated in me is when I got some VHS. I don't even remember what tournament it was he was playing. I think he was playing for the Ironman the first time, and he was talking about youth and having youth. I'm blanking, but yeah, he had like a quick interview outside this hyperball field and talking about having youth. And that was at a time when, there's a lot of old guys in the game, and like these
I
young
remember
kids
that.
were coming up, and they were just, not taking it seriously, I think, and they kind of disrupted the whole system. So that
Yeah.
was pretty badass, and I kind of latched on from there. So he was definitely always my favorite player since then. So yeah.
Yeah. Oliver always had this like sense of magic about him. Like when I watched him, when I played with him, like I felt the magic. I always thought Ryan, even when Oliver was in his prime, I thought Ryan was the greatest paintball player ever still. Like I still thought Ryan was the
Yeah.
best.
Yeah.
But the kind of the emotion that Oliver was capable of evoking out of the crowd, Ryan didn't have that back then. He does now,
Yes. Yeah.
but
Totally agree.
so like Oliver is kind of very much so this mythical beast in paintball. Like he's like this special character. Um, so, but I think Ryan is the greatest of all time. He's the best paintball player that we've ever seen. You know.
Yeah.
So, but they're
Yeah.
both like you can't go wrong with either of those dudes.
I mean, of course, yeah. So it's been cool to kind of get to know both of them, especially like Oliver more recently, and spend more time with him. He's still got the mind for it for sure, and his format's great.
Yeah.
So if you have a chance to play Joust or Duel, definitely do it. It's a blast.
Oh,
Shameless
it's
plug there.
tight. Yeah. No, check it out. Check out the duel. It's you're missing a lot of fun if you don't.
Yeah, summer tour coming up, global tour. It's gonna be legit. It's gonna be really fun. So yeah,
So you were talking about the Hurricanes, and
yeah,
they did very well, but I think the way that you lose a match when you're up 3 points in the finals is because you're playing against a team that knows how to get the W. They know how to do it, right? So it's like
yeah,
they don't get flustered when they're down 3 points. They've been there before. They've been in every possible difficult situation that you can imagine, and they know how to get the W. Like so it's they're I don't see them getting beat anytime soon.
yeah. I mean, I think it was Archie. I was filming and walking back to the pit with them. And I think it was Archie that came off the point, and they had just lost another one. And he was basically like, "We have them right where we want them." Like
Yeah.
just saying it. I mean, and it wasn't like, oh shit, we're about to lose or whatever. They were just like, okay, they think they got it. Watch this kind of thing. And yeah, it's hard
So
to compete with that.
when Dynasty played X Factor in the semis and Ryan hit the buzzer with like 1 second left and they won the game. I won't say who I talked to because I don't want to put him on blast, but he was on X Factor and he's just sitting there. I'm like, "What's up, man?" And he's like, when's it gonna end? Like when's it gonna stop? When is the magic gonna run out for them?" And I was like, "Probably when, Alex and Oliver and Yosh go away, like they're the holders of the magic." But even then, they're cultivating new people into the magic. So it's like,
Yeah,
dude, it's a force to be reckoned with right there in paintball.
for sure. Yeah, they're
So
definitely passing on that magic, and you can see those players move on, and you know
yeah.
they turn into great players. So crazy. Yeah, I mean, learning from the guys who completely changed the game, and they're still changing it. How many years later? So it's crazy.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Philip, what are you most thankful for that paintball's given you?
Whew. I think you get a lot of really interesting life experiences that definitely translate over to real life. So say like business. So I had a team, Hexball team back in like '08, and did that for a year. And it was like a really hard learning experience. You learn a lot of things like how to manage people, how to be organized, a lot of different things like that. And that definitely translates over to real life. Yeah, so that's a huge one, I think, there. I think also just struggle and perseverance. So, because you're going to lose more than you win, unless you're, I guess, dynasty. But yeah, usually you're not going to win a whole lot. You're going to lose
Yep.
a lot. And that's just how things go. And you have to decide, like, okay, is this it? Or do I keep going? And then you also have to go, okay, well, what are you doing it for? And then also, like, what's the goal? Like, are you trying to just win, or is it also to enjoy the experience, and there's this quote I often think about, and it's the pursuit is happiness. So, and that kind of resonates with me in a lot of ways, like, because it's not going to be about holding the trophy all the time. Like, it's going to be that pursuit to get there. So whatever you're doing to get there, the hours in the gym, for my case, it's like the hours like editing or putting effort into learning something new. That's where you got to find the happiness, is in the pursuit. So yeah.
I love it, dude. And they also say that's where you become a champion. It's not when you win the championship, it's when you put in the hours necessary to win the championship.
Yeah. I mean, the 10,000 hour thing, it's a real thing. Like, you are going to not be good for a long time at whatever it is, whether it's photography, whether it's paintball. Like, you're not going to be good for a long time. But if you trust the process, keep putting in the work, hours are going to accumulate, and it's going to add up, and you're going to be further down that journey. Your journey may look different than someone else's, and it may be a different timing than someone else's. But if you just stay focused on it, you can, get further down your own path.
And that's why you have to love it, right? Because
100%.
the persistence that's required, if you don't love it, you'll give up, because that's the rational thing to do.
You have to be really stubborn.
Yeah.
You have to be really, really stubborn. Yeah. Like, annoyingly stubborn about what you want to do. People will be like, oh, you're talented or whatever. I'm like, no, I'm just stubborn.
Yeah. I'm obsessed with this. So that's why.
I'm obsessed. Like, people are looking at whatever, playing video games. I'm like, oh, cool. Let's look at this lighting diagram this photographer did that I really like, and learn from that. Like, I'm just a nerd. So you have to be a nerd.
I love it. Philip, dude, thank you so much for your time here. Is there anything that you'd like to part with for the paintball community?
No, it's just great to be, connected in this way. Being back stateside, it's been really cool to reconnect with old friends, making new friends. Again, shout out to the Hormesis guys, Oliver, Miko, and Alex, Kevo too. And yeah, I'm just excited for trying out more things, doing more things. And I feel like paintball is really on its second golden age. I felt like there was a golden age back in the day, whatever, but I really feel like we're on that second golden age, if you want to call it that. So I'm pretty stoked to be connected during this time, because paintball is such a great sport. It's given so much to me. And yeah, I'm just so thankful to be a part of it. So, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Philip.
Thanks.